Is bigger is better, right? Not in this case.
So really, that's a myth.
That could very easily cause you a bad time.
Any mistakes with loading your travel trailer?
Big ones.
These are 6 common travel trailer towing mistakes that you're probably making and didn't even know it.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Cheri.
And we're EnjoyTheJourney.Life.
So I'm back at E-Trailer here, and I have Laser with E-Trailer. Great to meet you, Laser. And that's your real name, right?
That is me.
So not a nickname. And you are a towing expert.
I am indeed.
Here at E-Trailer, and we have a lot of viewers asking questions about towing products and what to get, what not to get. But specifically, what we're talking about right now is towing mistakes. So let's talk about what are some of the common towing mistakes people make with a travel trailer.
One of the big ones we actually get a lot of phone calls on is weight distribution. Most people don't know what the heck it does. They don't know what they want. They've heard the term, so they want it. So one of the biggest biggest mistakes people do with weight distribution is they buy the heaviest system they can possibly get. So they've got a 3,000 pound trailer. They're gonna order the biggest, heaviest duty because bigger is better, right? Not in this case. With weight distribution, if you get too heavy of a system, so again with that person that has 3,000 pound trailer ordering a 15,000 pound setup, it's gonna lift the front of your trailer up, it's gonna make it bouncy, it's gonna basically negate any pluses you could get with it. If you go to light a system, it's not gonna do anything. So it's not necessarily bad, it's just not doing any good. With weight distribution systems, what you want to do is you want to get your tongue weight, so your loaded tongue weight of your trailer, as close to the middle of the system's capacity as possible. So if you say you have a 3,000 pound trailer, you're going to have roughly 300 to 450 pound tongue weight. So when you're choosing a weight distribution system, don't go with that huge 15,000 pound setup because it's, again, just going to lift the front of your trailer up. What you want is get a system that will go from 200 pounds minimum to 600 pounds maximum. So you're right in the middle. It's going to put you right in that sweet spot, and it's going to give you all the good stuff you want it to do instead of either doing nothing or doing way too much and having all kinds of issues. I see this all the time. When you work in this industry for a while, you can't help but look at people driving around and noticing all the mistakes. Cross your chains, your safety chains. This isn't Ghostbusters where you're not supposed to cross your stream. Cross your chains. Because if you think about it, if your chains are just going straight and you become uncoupled, so if this comes out, it's just going straight into the ground and you're destroying your coupler. If your chains are crossed, unfortunately I don't have chains to show you, but if your chains are crossed, the coupler is going to come down and it'll sit in a little cradle of chains. You're not going to completely destroy everything. It's a much better way to do it. It should be common knowledge, and it kind of is most of the time, but still driving around every now and then you see people and they're not crossed, and it's cross your chains, man. It's a good way to do it. Travel trailers, you definitely also want to make sure this is seated all the way. We, even as experts, just kind of messed something up yesterday trying to pull a little trailer back over to do a little product video where apparently the ball wasn't seated all the way on the coupler, went over a speed bump in our back lot over here in our test course, popped off, smacked into the ground. We do it too. Just make sure, when this is on there, you want to make sure it's on there. Give it a good wiggle, make sure your latch is all the way down, make sure everything is connected all the way, because that could very easily cause you a bad time.
Is there such a thing as a safety tug with travel trailers?
Not really.
Okay, all right, just curious.
How do we make RV life better? We use eTrailer.com. eTrailer.com has everything you need for your RV and camping and outdoor adventure. We have our hitch, the B&W Companion, which is awesome, from E-Trailer, as well as the Gen Y pin box and our tonneau cover, our bed cover, and more. Just scan this QR code right here to go directly to E-Trailer's website, and you can find what you need.
Travel trailers, they're not super complicated. As long as everything's connected, you got your chains crossed, if you're using a weight distribution, if you got the right system. Travel trailers are pretty simple when you think about it. There's not a whole lot to them. if you have brakes, make sure you're using your brake controller, make sure everything's working. A lot of people don't necessarily test that, and that's something that should absolutely be tested to make sure it's working properly.
And how would they test the brakes before rolling out?
When you go, especially right as you hook up, check all your lights, make sure your light's working, because that means you're fully seated. If your lights aren't working, make sure your 7-way is plugged in all the way, because sometimes they do pop out. Typically, we don't have a 7-way in here, but the little door latch that actually covers your 7-way, it's got a piece on there that'll actually connect to your 7-way so it won't pull out. So when you're plugging your 7-way in, it should click when it goes in there, because that'll be the door actually coming down and latching on there to secure it. But when you're starting, right as you get that going, right before or as you're leaving, make sure everything's set the way you want it. Don't just kind of be like, oh, it's good to go, and go up into the mountains and you're going down and like, oh, my brake controller isn't working. What am I gonna do now? So when you're on a nice flat level plane when you're leaving your house, make sure everything's working. Quick, simple, easy thing to do, but most people don't.
Do you have a fifth wheel? Well, don't feel left out, because Laser will be back in another video to talk about common fifth wheel RV towing mistakes, plus popular towing options. We have a whole series of expert videos coming out with e-trailers, so make sure you smash that subscribe button so you catch all of our videos.
And any like mistakes with loading your travel trailer?
Big ones. People, I don't know why, people always seem to think load the back heavier. Don't do that, because that'll cause you sway issues. You always kind of want to go front heavy. The heavier the front is, the more stable it's going to be, especially if you got a weight distribution system, and you're going to get a lot less wobble going down the road. And don't stack one side too heavy. We see that pretty often too.
So really, that's a myth then to load in the back.
Yeah.
Because I hear that a lot, because everybody's like so concerned about your hitch weight.
Yeah.
So, wow, myth to load in the back. You want to load in the front.
I mean, not ridiculously, of course.
Okay.
You want to be fairly even, but definitely front heavy as opposed to back heavy.
Okay.
You don't want the front of your trailer lifting up, because that'll cause you some issues. Another big one I see all the time, which isn't really a bad thing, it just gets on my nerves. If you only have a 4 flat on your vehicle, don't leave it dangling around, smacking into the ground. We have all kinds of stuff to make that so you can hook it onto your hitch. We even have a magnetic one now from, I think, Eco Hitch, where you just slide your 4 flat in, it's got a little magnet, you just stick it wherever you want. It's not really a bad thing, it's just kind of a pet peeve of mine.
Right.
That's kind of it for travel trailers. There's not a whole lot to them. As long as everything's connected and you're plugged in and all your lights are working, travel trailers, you're good to go.
Is there a sway system that you would recommend?
This is actually one of our newer ones. I haven't tested this thing out. This is the B&W Continuum. It's supposed to work, I think, from like 600 pound tongue weight up to like, I think 1,500 pound tongue weight. And it's all adjustable, so it's got a hydraulic system so you can adjust how much your bars are actually going to be moving. It does, like, from what I've heard, it works pretty well. There are a few limitations, especially with how this sits here, because it can smack into your jack. So there are a few limitations with it, but I tend to go with equalizer weight distribution systems. They've been around pretty much the longest. They've not really changed much because they did it right the first time. They offer a good amount of sway control. They offer really good weight distribution. I tend to go equalizer because they work. They're not complicated. One thing with weight distribution, maybe not this one, but like with this one right here, the Reese, they're supposed to make noise. If you're turning, it's going to make a grinding sound because that's actually these bars connecting with brake pads on here. They're going to keep it from swaying. So if it's making noise, it's working. And do not oil your weight distribution systems where the bars sit. That's another thing that people like to ask us because it's making noise. They think it shouldn't. It should make noise. The chain ones are quieter. They should still make noise because that just means they're working. They're trying to keep everything as straight as possible. Don't oil your weight distribution system bars.
Okay, another mistake.
Yeah, big one.
Okay.
We get that call and email all the time because it's, especially if you have the older style where they have kind of like a brake pad that installs along the rail here, they're very loud. And it's essentially, it's just a brake pad that's stopping the trailer from moving. And they're extremely loud and people are always assuming that something's broken and they're not doing it right. But no, it's supposed to do that. It just means it's working.
And if this sounds like great to you, like it does to me, one of the great things about e-trailer is you have experts like Laser here that people can call up and talk to people like you.
Either call or or chat now too.
Okay, great. To say, hey, like this is a travel trailer I have. This is a GVWR. What do I need to get to make it right and to make it safe? Because you want the right setup so you're safe on the road for yourself and for everybody else that's on the road. Thank you very much, Laser. I appreciate it. The viewers certainly appreciate it. For our next video, you can click right over here.